Hello, I'm Colleen Holder and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're at the Gulf City Mall in Lowlands. We're not here to shop. Our visit today is specifically related to the art exhibition put on by artist Wendell Moore, which features themes from the Tobago Heritage Festival. The idea behind this exhibition is to demonstrate that art is an integral part of Tobago's history. Many of the pieces you'll see here depict the traditions of our island and reflect knowledge passed on. But before we tell you more, first let's tell you what's happening in our stories this week. Reassurances that no effort is being spared to keep the people of Tobago safe. How to protect yourself from chikungunya. And learning music during the holidays. Tobagonian students are keeping busy even though they're officially on a break.
During the month of August, the Tobago Emergency Management Agency TEMA will be updating the Special Needs Registry. This registry lists geographical locations and data of individuals throughout the island of Tobago who are diagnosed with disabilities and may require special assistance in times of emergency or disaster. TEMA is therefore asking the public's assistance and cooperation by providing accurate information when a TEMA official visits your area.
For more information, please contact TEMA at 660-7489 or visit the Emergency Operations Center at Fairfield Complex, Bacolod Street, Tobago.
This is Let's Talk Tobago. Thanks for staying with us at the Gulf City Mall in Lowlands, where we're visiting an art exhibit put on by artist Wendell Moore, which features themes from the Tobago Heritage Festival. Mr. Moore is a member of the Tobago Heritage Committee, and this miniature dirt oven is his own creation. It was made by mixing clay with sand, a bit of cow dung and some grass, and placing some fire bricks at the base to conserve the heat for baking. Now, after it dried, it was used for baking a small loaf of bread. So this is a very practical piece of art. But let's leave it there for now to deal with an issue that has caused some worry to Tobagonians. We're talking about crime, a word that's unfortunately becoming synonymous with Trinidad and Tobago. Day after day, we hear of murders taking place in our country, and up until now, Tobago has remained relatively safe. But that safety is now threatened with 3 killings in a little over 1 week. But as Davia Chambers tells us, there are assurances that criminals aren't going to run amok here.
In the space of 10 days, Tobago recorded 3 murders, an unusual occurrence for this island. It started off with the murder of Speyside resident Dane Kent, who was found with a gunshot wound to his head in Mount Grace on July 10th. 1 day later, businessman Nigel Redman Fraser was shot dead in Scarborough at his clothing store. As if the bad news could not stop, on July 19th, 60-year-old Concordia resident Curtis James was found strangled to death at his home.
The police investigators are pursuing several leads based on information received, and they are vigorously pursuing those leads in an effort to bring a resolution to the 3 murders. We are doing all in our powers and to ensure that the community and the people of Tobago are safe and are comfortable.
This recent spate of murders have left many Tobagonians wondering if the island, once known to be safe, is slowly changing. But according to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, they won't allow criminals to run the island. The Tobago Crime Plan, being requested by the Tobago House of Assembly, will ensure this happens in the short and long term.
We're talking about human resource, we're talking about manpower, we're talking about, we'll be speaking about equipment, we're speaking about technology, and it's a holistic thing, and it includes training and development. So in terms of a specific plan as it relates to the to criminal activity, I would say that it's not specific, but it's holistic in our approach, so that we'll be able to satisfy the entire community of Tobago, which would include ensuring safety and security of all. Then there's the aspect of the physical environment. When I say the physical environment, we have 2 new stations that are supposed to come on board. That is the building of the Old Range, the new Old Range station, and the Roxborough station. This in itself is something that we are hoping will come into effect as soon as possible.
Mr. Headley is reassuring the public that they will keep the island safe. The murder toll in Tobago now stands at 5, but the Assembly's aim is to ensure Tobago is an unfavorable place for criminals. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
And integral to the Safe Tobago we love are non-governmental and community-based organizations. They often work quietly contributing to this island's development, but many times they're challenged by lack of funding. Support is therefore critical to these groups' effectiveness. That's why they've received some assistance that will go a long way. Kisan Braffett has the details.
4 organizations are now in a better position to undertake their plans and initiatives. St. Mary's Anglican Church, the Blind Welfare Association, the Naturalist Castara Awards Committee, and the organizers of the 14th Annual Mother's Day Function have been awarded checks to assist with the work they're doing. For the St. Mary Anglican Church, this means a completed roof over their heads at their sanctuary.
It means quite a lot to us. This is for our church, which is under renovation right now, and it means quite a lot because we're very low on funds and we want to complete the church. The rain is down and part of it is not even covered. So it will go a long way to helping us to complete it before the rain really comes down full.
The Blind Welfare Association also should be able to offset some of the costs associated with the hosting of one of their events and to help with their operational expenses.
And this check is going to be helping us to offset an event we're going to be having on the 25th of this month at the Esplanade in Scarborough. That event is going to be consisting of a health fair. We're going to be having free vision screening, and we're going to be having all the health testing like glucose testing, pressure testing, and that sort of a thing. So this check that is given to us by the Assembly, we are very grateful for it in assisting us in offsetting some of the expenses that we may incur in that particular day.
Altogether, the 4 organizations received just about $90,000. The Assembly hopes that this investment will motivate the organizations to continue their good work here on the island. I'm Kisan Brathwaite for Let's Talk Tobago.
The Pan American Health Organization estimates that as of mid-June, there were over 4,000 confirmed cases of chikungunya in the Caribbean, with over 160,000 suspected cases. Chikungunya is a viral disease which is transmitted to humans by infected mosquitoes. The name originates from a verb in the African Kimakonde language, meaning to become contorted, which refers to the stooped appearance of those suffering with joint pain. The virus has long been present in Africa and Asia, but was only detected in the Caribbean last December. Since then, there have been confirmed cases in over a dozen countries. Thankfully, only 3 persons in Trinidad have been diagnosed, and there are no reported cases in Tobago. Now, there's currently no vaccine treatment for chikungunya, but here's what you need to know to keep you and your family protected.
We have no cases based on signs and symptoms to make us suspect that this person has chikungunya.
That's confirmation that the chikungunya virus is definitely not in Tobago. And to keep the island chikungunya free, health officials say this is what you need to do.
Remember, this infection is spread by the mosquitoes. That's the carrier of the infection. So once you don't get bitten by the mosquitoes, you're safe. How do you protect yourself? One, you can spray these repellents on your skin so that avoid the mosquitoes biting you. And in night you can use mosquito nets that you can you sleep under the mosquito nets. Again, you avoid the mosquito biting you, because the whole focus is that this disease, chikungunya, is spread by the mosquito. So therefore you have to avoid the bite of the mosquito and if possible destroy the mosquito from its different stages, from larva, pupa, right up to adult.
But the Division of Health and Social Services is also putting measures in place to keep citizens protected. One such way is through vector control at our ports of entry.
We have an ongoing system where we monitor the mosquito populations at the ports of entry. That is happening at the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport, is happening at Scarborough Port, so it continues to happen. The other one is communications, and again, using a best practice approach. Travel alert advisory, travel health advisories are what we're going to be developing, and to share with the incoming passenger public and the outgoing passenger public so as to advise them on signs and symptoms.
Dr. Partap Singh says hospital officials are also prepared if persons have been diagnosed with the virus on island or enter with the infection.
Aircraft coming in to have to issue a declaration of health. And on that declaration, you would want the captain would usually say there are no ill persons on board. So that's something that we review, and if there are ill persons, well, those ill persons are dealt with before the crew or before the passengers come off the plane. And so that's one way of protecting Port Health, by reviewing that declaration of health. A similar process occurs for incoming sea vessels coming in from international ports.
The majority of chikungunya symptoms last 3 to 10 days, but joint pain may persist longer. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
And now that the Division of Health and Social Services has done its part, here's what you can do. It's time to take a break, but coming up, school is out, but Tobago's children haven't stopped learning. They're spending the holidays at music and pan camps. Thanks for staying with us. You're viewing Let's Talk Tobago, and we're coming to you from Gulf City Mall in Lowlands, where we're visiting an art exhibit which features themes from the Tobago Heritage Festival. Right now, we're looking at some inspirational art. Some of these pieces were done by students, finalists in the Chief Secretary's 2014 art competition, and these can be seen on the THA's 2014 calendar. This piece, entitled Dance Lorraine Dance, was done by an 18-year-old student, Keedan Grant, from the Scarborough Secondary School. It's an illustration of the masquerade character played by the 18th century and early 19th century French planters as recreated by liberated slaves. And while we're on the topic of art, in the developed world, culture is big business. People make full-time careers out of their God-given talents, and some are extremely rich because of it, but not so in the Caribbean. Outside of the Machel Montanos, few can survive without an 8-to-4 job. Tobago wants to change this, and they got the ball rolling by providing a space for the cultural industry to have meaningful exchanges.
Scranta's lyrics capture an all too familiar complaint of local artists. Quite often, many of them don't receive the kind of respect and recognition that they deserve, and one possible explanation is that perhaps people don't understand the value of local culture. But now all that is changing, at least in Tobago. This island is promoting its culture as a viable source of economic development, one that can lead to job creation and an enhanced standard of living. As part of that process, the Division of Community Development and Culture has launched its Conference on the Arts and Cultural Industries, simply referred to as CASI.
An initiative to bring together the stakeholders of culture to understand and to put in a meaningful way the feedback and the kind of development that can come from culture.
If culture is to be a driving force in the local economy, it's critical that those persons in the creative and cultural industry are empowered to use it as a career and for business ventures.
I think it's something that, was needed, and I'm glad that they took the initiative to do something like this that will help to educate, especially young people, as to where we came from and see where we are going.
The conference today, I believe, is a very useful one. And as the Chief Secretary said, implementation is key to it. Otherwise, it becomes just another talk shop.
CASI was held over a 3-day period and includes informative presentations and discussions on the life and legacy of Dr. J.D. Elder and the strategic approach towards cultural development. The division hopes to have this conference annually as it takes culture to the next level. I'm Kisan Brathwaite for Let's Talk Tobago.
For many persons involved in the fashion industry in the Caribbean, the must-do event is Caribbean Fashion Week in Jamaica. That's because it has kick-started the international careers of many of the region's models and designers. Now, for a wedding dress designer and a lecturer in garment construction, showing their creations at this forum is the ultimate coup, one that a Tobagonian team managed to pull off.
She had these styles for a long time. She always bringing them and saying, "Granny, look." So I decided to just make some.
And that's how her 14-year-old granddaughter, Orchid Linton Providence, got the opportunity to design a collection which was shown at Caribbean Fashion Week 2014. Their presence in Jamaica is a result of a decision taken by the Business Development Unit of the Division of Finance and Enterprise Development to expose entrepreneurs to different markets outside of Tobago. So, Tobago Girl 2014 Summer Collection was born. It's inspired by La Diablesse or the Devil Woman, a local folklore of a beautiful woman who entices men into following her.
Well, my grandmother, she always sews different types of clothing, and she was mostly into wedding dresses, but that wasn't really, how to say, my style. So I just decided to go along with it, but in my own way.
The collection has 12 pieces, which includes elaborate skirts as well as dresses.
We have so many beautiful ladies in all of Tobago. We just wanted clothes that could complement their beauty so they could stand out.
And so her designs were flown to Jamaica with her grandmother, who says the audience was very much interested in the pieces.
It was fantastic. It was my first time and I really enjoyed it. And what makes it better, the people in Jamaica love the fashion.
Both Orchid and Mrs. Linton Providence plan to continue designing and producing collections. They say their hope is for their next collection to be shown at Tobago Fashion Weekend 2015. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
School is out, and for many students it's time to put the books away. Parents, though, are concerned about who and what's occupying their children's time during the holidays. But as Kisan Brathwaite tells us, in Tobago there's the option of pan and music camps.
A good feeling, knowing a sense of patriotism is being transmitted to the younger generation. Children, primarily from ages 7 to 13, from the east and west of Tobago, are being engaged in active learning at the pan and music camps put on by the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sports. It's just one of the ways the division is able to have children learn while at play.
The pan camps are held at 4 stations throughout the island. One at Bell Garden by Tiantec Eastside Pan Theatre, the other one at 4th Street by Our Boys Pan Theatre. Then we used 2 schools this year, one at Mason Hall Secondary and the other at Bonaccord Government. The music camps are held at 2 stations, one at the Roxborough Anglican School in Roxborough and the other at Scarborough Methodist School, Scarborough.
Mr. Kwashi says that they exceeded the numbers they initially catered for.
That has been crazy. Every camp, let me say it this way. For the pan camps, we had budgeted, planned for like 50 participants per camp, 50 children, 50 novices. But the pan camp has gone to 70. So the music camp, we catered like for 60 students per camp. So 60 for Methodist, 60 for Roxborough Anglican. At Methodist, we have 109 presently. And at Roxborough, we have about 71 presently. So you see what's happening. It's just kind of crazy, but it's a kind of livable craziness, call it that.
The division believes that no child should be left behind, even in pan and general music lessons, and judging from the feedback, it appears they've accomplished that goal.
I guess for people who don't really talk, they express themselves through music, so it's good to know.
Well, it has been good for me because instead of me sitting home and watching TV, I could interact and with others and play music and enhance my music skills.
Here, the children learn pan and music history and will be assessed on music literacy and ethics. I'm Kissam Brathwaite for Let's Talk Tobago.
We're taking another break, but on the other side, some of what you missed at Tobago's Heritage Festival. Welcome back to Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're at the Gulf City Mall in Lowlands looking at some art pieces put on display by artist Wendell Moore in celebration of the Tobago Heritage Festival. This is a three-dimensional foil paper display of carnival characters such as the bat, the dragon, a man playing a tambourine and a lady doing the jig. Now this foil paper piece was made as an economical alternative to the more expensive materials, and it's a great example that art is possible using a variety of non-conventional materials. Now this exhibition is just one aspect of the Tobago Heritage Festival. All across Tobago there are many activities to help Tobagonians and the wider world understand this island's rich cultural heritage. But many of us still have questions, some of which this year's festival will attempt to answer. The event digs deep into the meaning of our cultural traditions and practices. It's designed to help us uncover, understand and appreciate the past, and it all began with a gala presentation. Davia Chambers takes us back to the opening.
We must never forget our ancestors. We must always remember our people them.
And our heritage or customs were revealed. The second part of a three-piece trilogy of the Tobago Heritage Festival. Our African rituals were celebrated through an account which began like this.
We costume pretty, but tomorrow we are borrow. Then I see how we will make the show. We dance and sing how we can eat tomorrow. Then I see how we will make the show.
It's what's going on with all you. We here doing what we love. And all you come to mash up your performance, all your culture zombies.
The play presented Tantan's experiences in two stages of her life, as a 12-year-old girl and in her early 20s, as she's also searching for answers about these traditions and customs and what they mean to her. But her life story revealed themes of cultural relevance.
You can't tell me how to raise my child. Who you feel is? You forget what is my line of business. You forget that I could see things that you can't. I can tell you that you need to give this talented child a chance to feel and understand the energy flowing through her body.
As Tantan learnt about her heritage, she realizes that she must play a part in revealing our cultural product to the world, much like the protagonist of the story, cultural activist Dr. Evelyn McKenzie.
That is not all to it. Shouldn't we be practicing with culture to sustain we live in? Sustain. To export it outside, and also to invite people from outside to come and see what we have?
Dance also revealed many of our island's traditions. As well as song.
And when you come from a funeral, you got to hang up your clothes outside.
The festival officially runs until August 1st, but there will be events on the Heritage calendar until November 23rd. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
And they were just getting started. The festival is packed with activities. Every day there's something to see and do. We know not everyone can make it to every event, so here are some highlights from some of the notable presentations.
Village woman, mother, wife, Tantan, a legend of a woman so great. Who am I? Is me who give culinary heritage a
All them Tobago sad ball, do me money small. I will walk a ball just to have them all. I love my sweet Tobago girl. Sing the chorus with me. Oh.
Miss Heritage 2014, representing Canaan Bonaccord, Zoba Samuel.
Take it easy. Wait. But anyhow, he been tell me he been a go up a person for stay for a picnic. So me turn around and me ask myself, me say self, who I got take all turn back broke down Clarabelle for go stay for picnic? That man pinch me on my rear.
Pinch you where? Where?
Right here.
Where?
I tell you, right here.
Oh.
I was outside, lying down on the floor. And then I saw something pass by me. So I thought this was an angel with an extension. So I took a feel of a boomsy.
And it's time to have your say, the segment of our program where we hear from you, our viewers. As we told you earlier, chikungunya is a viral disease carried mainly by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. It causes dengue-like sickness and the symptoms appear 4 to 7 days after being bitten by an infected mosquito. The majority of clinical signs and symptoms last 3 to 10 days, but joint pain may persist longer. Severe cases requiring hospitalization are rare, and it's recommended that communities take preventive steps which rid their areas of mosquito vectors. So today we're asking, what precautions are you taking to protect yourself from chikungunya? This is what you said.
Keep a clean and tidy scene, you know, make sure pots with water and so on, you change them often. You know, and try to keep the surrounding clean as possible.
Currently, right now, I guess the precaution right now is the same precaution as always. Within the mosquitoes, you just clean your water supply as often as possible, treat your waters, and probably netting at all.
I'm ensuring that all our flower spots, saucers doesn't have unwanted waters, and making sure barrels are covered properly.
Okay, well, I will try to keep my environment clean so as not to encourage the breeding of mosquitoes. Likewise, I will encourage my neighbors to do likewise because we are all vulnerable to this illness.
Well, you have to clean up your surround at all times, and any drums with water, you throw it away. Because most times that you get water stagnant, it does cause mosquito to lay and make the larva.
And that's how we bring this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago to a close. Remember, you can send us your comments or queries on anything you've seen in this program to information@tha.gov.tt or visit us at www.tha.gov.tt. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Colleen Holder, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, have a safe and enjoyable week. And as we go, here's a final look at this art exhibition, which features themes from the Tobago Heritage Festival.